On today's episode of Retro Car Guy 530, I get to replace the alternator in my 2014 Chevrolet Caprice for the second time. Several months ago, I replaced the alternator in my 2014 Caprice PPV, and it has a 6-liter engine in it. I replaced it because the alternator pulley was actually quite noisy. It's a ratcheting pulley, allowing the alternator to spin at a slightly higher RPM than the engine. And when it would do that, it would actually squeak quite a bit. So I purchased a brand new AC Delco alternator as a replacement, installed that, and I had that in a previous video on my channel. And that worked just fine for several months. It's electrically charging just fine, but I noticed the other week that I was listening for noises, checking out the radiator cooling system, making sure it wasn't leaking after that repair of my radiator that I did in the cooling system refresh video. And I noticed a random metallic tapping noise, and no, it wasn't lifters. But I used my stethoscope to narrow it down. I went through the idler pulleys and tensioner pulleys and got it down to the alternator. It was right in the alternator itself. Those are no longer available at this point. I can't find any replacements. I went to the vendor that I originally purchased that from, and the best they could do is a warranty return. So I found some remanufactured, rebuilt alternators, and I've purchased one of those, and that's what I'm going to swap in today. So I can take that AC Delco one out and send it in for a warranty refund. So the first thing we need to do is get the system prepped by disconnecting the negative battery cable. So I'll go do that, and then we'll jump into the engine bay and put in alternator number 2. We're going to start replacing the alternator by getting the airbox out of the way. So we're first going to disconnect the mass airflow sensor connector here, pushing on the tab, wiggling that off. Let's get that off to the side here. And then we're going to need some 8mm to eventually take that off. We're going to release the clips to get the top cover off. And next we're going to need some, I think it's 8mm for those. Our air filter, so it looks decent. We're now going to remove the bottom of the airbox. There's a T30 Torx that needs to be removed there. That appears to be loose. And now it looks like we have a couple 10mm nuts to remove here. So let's go for this one up here. Actually, let me get a 10mm socket. It's just easier. I've already disengaged the clips on this cover. So let's get that out of the way. Those nuts back where they came from so we don't lose them. We now have open access to the alternator. We have to do a couple things. There's 2 electrical connections on the back, a support bracket, and of course the belt on the front. So I'm going to go over and loosen the belt tensioner to the point of being able to take the belt off. Then we'll come back over here and start taking that alternator out. Now with the airbox removed, I'm going to go over and loosen the tensioner using a 15mm wrench to loosen the tension on the belt to get the belt off. Then we'll come back over and get that alternator out. I'm looking at the electrical connector on the back end of the alternator. There's a rubber boot over it, of course, to protect it from elements such as water. So I'm going to pull that back, and there's a nut underneath that. And then we've got this clipped in connector on the side, which should be straightforward to remove. From what I remember, you just compress the tab here. I wish I could get the camera right here.
Basically there's a little clip that has to be disengaged, so you need to pull forward on this to cause the bottom portion of that to tip out. And that comes out. That was pretty easy. Okay. And then we've got the rubber boot around the main connector here. Which feels about like a 12 millimeter. And I've got a 12 millimeter socket. And again, we have the battery disconnected in the rear. Get that boot out of the way. Socket on the nut. Socket to help me remove the nut fully. And there we go. We have the nut off, which means that connector should be able to be pulled out. And it is. Put the boot around it. So we're electrically disconnected from the rear of the alternator. So now I'm going to remove this bolt for the rear support bracket. Let's see what size that is. Looks like it's 15. I'm going to loosen this one up here just a little bit so it can flex a little bit. I'll need to reuse that bolt in the other alternator. We have two bolts on the front of the alternator here that need to be loosened and removed. One that's at the very top here, and then one by the bypass hose. Let's see if I can get in there without disturbing it too much. I removed this extra bracket because it was simpler to remove that than trying to move the piping for the air conditioning, because it was going to be problematic to remove that bottom bolt. Let's get the new one in. Back bolt in. Wrong way.
At this point in the installation, I go to reconnect the 12-volt power supply cable to the back end of the alternator, but I ended up finding that the orientation of the plastic cap around that post is actually different. On the left here, I have that incorrect plastic cap installed on the original alternator from the vehicle, so you can see where the opening gap is and where the correct gap is. So I ended up removing the one from the original alternator, putting it on the replacement alternator, and proceeding with the installation. Once I swapped out those plastic caps, they pull out pretty easily, so I swapped in the correct one for the replacement alternator, got the cable back on, 12mm nut, tightened that up, and then reconnected the wire connector on the side of the alternator, completing the install of the alternator. I reinstalled the air filter box by putting the torque screw back in and then install the two 10mm nuts at the top. I also then reinstall the cap for the jump start battery post, and then I put the air intake housing that goes to the throttle body and reconnect the mass airflow sensor. I took the vehicle out on a test drive. Charging voltage looked just fine on the driver information center. It was about 13.6 to 14.3 while I was driving. When I came back to the garage, I did a headlight pulsation test looking at the intensity of the high beams and low beams while the engine was running, and of course it looked nice and steady. Because some alternators, if they're fluctuating the voltage too much, you'll see a pulsation in that. Things look good. Use my stethoscope again to listen to the bearings and all the idler and tensioner pulley stuff that was on the engine here, and things sounded okay, just the normal LS drivetrain sewing machine noises that are typically there. And so we're good there. So I'm gonna give it about a week before I can say it's successful. I wanna make sure the battery doesn't drain down, make sure there's no problems internally in the alternator to cause a parasitic drain of some sort, but so far it's looking good. And hopefully you found something informational in this. I had a couple things go wrong. Of course, we had that plastic piece that didn't orient the opening for the 12-volt cable coming into the backside of the alternator correctly. That was a strange one, never had that before. But I was able to take the one off the original AC Delco that was originally in the vehicle and put that on the vehicle. And if this one ends up working out, I'll then arrange a warranty return for my brand new AC Delco one that had the bad bearing noise. Hopefully you found something informational, entertaining, or something in here that you liked. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Most of the viewers of the channel, such as 94 or 95% of the viewers, are not subscribed. So please subscribe. It does help out the channel in ranking in the YouTube search algorithm. And make sure you hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload new videos to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.